Aesop's Fables, retold by Carol Watson. The Mystery Writer. These stories were first told so long ago, no one knows who really wrote them. They may have been written by a man called Aesop, who lived in Greece thousands of years ago. No one knows much about Aesop either. He might have been a slave or a king, but everyone agrees the stories are great, and they all have one thing in common. Every story is a fable. This means it has a moral or a lesson to be learned. See if you can guess the moral before the story ends. Chapter 1. The Tortoise and the Hare. One day, the hare was boasting about how amazingly fast he could run. His friends just yawned. They'd heard it all before. The hare started to pick on the old tortoise. "You're so slow. I'm surprised you ever get anywhere," he teased. "I may be slow," replied the tortoise, "but I bet I can reach the end of this field before you." "Hooray, a challenge!" whooped the hare. "Come on, everyone, watch me win." The other animals gathered around as the hare and the tortoise lined up to start. "Ready, steady, go!" shouted the badger. Everyone cheered as the hare raced off, leaving the tortoise far behind. The tortoise wasn't bothered. She plodded along on her own speed. Halfway across the field, the hare looked back over his shoulder. "That old tortoise will take all day," he thought. "I might as well have a little rest." Soon he had fallen fast asleep in the warm sunshine. Several hours later, the hare woke up in a panic. In the distance, he could see the tortoise about to cross the finishing line. He ran as fast as he could, but it was too late. The tortoise had won. And the moral is, slow but sure can win the race. Chapter 2. The Thirsty Crow. One hot summer, a thirsty crow was searching for something to drink. It hadn't rained for weeks, and he was beginning to give up hope. Then, in the distance, he spied a pot on someone's windowsill. He flew over to take a closer look. He could see water, but he couldn't reach it. Now he felt even more thirsty. "Maybe I could break the pot," he thought, but his beak wouldn't crack the hard clay. "If I could just knock the pot over," he pushed with all his weight, but the pot wouldn't budge. The crow felt very sorry for himself until he had an idea. He flew to a pile of pebbles, picked them up one by one, and dropped them into the pot. Each pebble pushed the water up a little higher until the crow could finally take a sip. The cold water tasted wonderful, and the crow congratulated himself on being so clever. And the moral is, try hard enough and you'll get what you want. Chapter 3. The Ant and the Dove. On his way home, an ant saw a sparkling fountain. He crawled onto its wall to take a closer look. The next thing he knew, he had slipped into the water. He gurgled and panicked and waved his legs in the air. Luckily, just at that moment, a friendly dove flew by. She saw that the tiny ant was drowning and quickly flew to a nearby tree. She pulled off a leaf and let it glide down to the ant. "Here you are," she cooed, and flew away. The ant struggled onto the leaf. He breathed a sigh of relief as he floated to safety. The following day, he saw his rescuer in a field. The dove was out looking for worms, and she wasn't alone. The ant knew the dove was in trouble, but what could he do? With one swoop of his net, the man trapped the dove. "You're coming with me, my beauty," he cried. "Not if I can help it," thought the ant. He ran up the man's leg and bit him. The man yelped and dropped the net to clutch his leg. "Thank you, my little friend," cooed the dove as she flew away. And the moral is, one good turn deserves another. Chapter 4. The Fox and the Stork. One evening, a sly fox invited a hungry stork to dinner. "Make yourself at home while I serve our meal," said the fox. The stork sat down. Delicious spicy smells wafted in from the kitchen. "Here we are," said the fox, carrying 2 steaming bowls of fresh soup. The fox greedily lapped up his soup and eyed the stork's bowl. The stork was having trouble. Her beak was too long to eat from the fox's shallow dish. She flew home in a bad mood, feeling very hungry. "That cunning fox tricked me and ate my dinner too," she squawked, and plotted how to get back at him. A week later, the stork invited the fox to dinner. "Your soup was so delicious," she said. "I thought I'd make some too." The stork poured the soup into 2 tall jars. She ate hers easily, but the fox hadn't a chance. His nose was far too short. "I've been fooled by my own trick," he sighed. And the moral is, play mean tricks on people and they may play them back on you. Chapter 5. The Mouse's Tale. A little brown mouse lived happily under a hedge in the countryside. One day his cousin from town came to visit. "I thought I'd try out life in the country," he said. The country mouse did everything he could to look after his city cousin. He gave him the best piece of moss to sleep on and fed him his tastiest nuts and vegetables. The town mouse wasn't impressed. He found the food horrible and the life boring. "Why don't we both go back to the town?" he suggested. So off they went. On the way, the town mouse told his cousin how they would dine like kings. As night fell, they arrived at a large town house. "This way," whispered the town mouse, scrambling under the back door. Up a flight of stairs and down a long hall, they found the dining room and the dining room table. The country mouse couldn't believe his eyes. "I've never seen this much food," he squeaked. They were nibbling away when the door opened and in came a man. The two cousins hid and held their breath. The man came closer, peered in the fruit bowl, took an apple and left. "All clear," said the town mouse, but his little cousin was too scared to eat any more. In the corner, a large cat was woken up by all the noise. He padded across the table and spotted the two mice. The country mouse squealed as the cat sprang onto the table. "Follow me," cried his cousin, and they dived into a mouse hole. The country mouse was very frightened. "This isn't my idea of fun," he sniffed. "I'm sorry, cousin, but I'm going back to the peaceful countryside." He waved the town mouse goodbye and set off for his comfy little home under a hedge. And the moral is, a simple, quiet life beats a rich, dangerous one. Chapter 6. The Dog and the Bone. One day, a naughty dog stole a big, juicy bone from the butcher. The dog scampered away across the fields and onto a bridge that crossed a stream. He looked down at the water and jumped in surprise. There was another dog staring up at him, and he had a big, juicy bone in his mouth too. He growled at the dog, and the dog growled back. "I want your bone," barked the dog on the bridge. But as he opened his mouth, his bone slipped out. It fell into the water with a big splash. When the ripples cleared, all the dog could see was himself. There had never been another dog, and now there was no bone either. And the moral is, be happy with what you have. Chapter 7. The Fox and the Crow. A fox was out for a stroll when he saw a crow perched up in a tree. The crow had stolen a lump of cheese. She was feeling very pleased with herself. "I'd like that cheese for myself," thought the fox. He stopped under the tree and started to tell the crow how lovely she looked. The crow believed every word. "I suppose I am quite beautiful," she thought. "I bet you have an amazing voice as well," continued the fox. "I do," thought the crow, wanting to show off her voice. She opened her beak and gave a loud caw. Out dropped the cheese straight into the fox's mouth. And the moral is, don't be fooled by flattery. Chapter 8. The Lion and the Mouse. It was too hot to prowl, so the king of the jungle lay snoozing in the sun. A tiny mouse was hurrying home with some corn for her dinner. She was in such a rush she didn't notice the lion and ran straight over his paw. The lion felt a tickle and woke up. He grabbed the mouse in his claws. "A mouse for dinner! What a nice idea!" He snarled and licked his lips. "Please don't eat me," squeaked the mouse. "Let me go, and I promise I'll help you out one day." "Ha! You really think a little mouse like you can help a lion like me?" he sneered. But he admired the mouse's bravery, so he let her go. The next day the lion was out hunting when he tripped on a rope and set off a trap. A large net fell on him. He struggled to free himself, but the net held him tightly. "How dare someone trap the king of the jungle?" he cried, and his voice echoed through the trees. Far away the mouse heard the lion's roar. "I promised to help him, and so I shall," she thought. She ran through the jungle as fast as she could. "I'm here to rescue you," she told the lion. "Fat chance," he replied, but there was no one else to help. The mouse nibbled and gnawed at the net until at last the lion was free. "I was wrong to doubt you, little mouse," he said. "Thank you for saving my life." And the moral is, little friends can be great friends. The end. Don't forget to like and subscribe.